I just want to thank you for this beautiful day.
And, under number E, I think we're unanimous on the vote. So we'll add under other board discussion, 3 set, and the motion said, we're moving down to item E, which we just added to the agenda, which is.
So we're going to make this, which started in piloting in 2021 here next door in Cherokee County. Familiar with that rural journal? It's pilot since last year, and surprisingly, that way. Local merchants have a real in terms of transforming tourism. So first thing is we're going to take a look at what it is, and Selena's going to help us with that. Selena, can you bring up the search? Okay, so we're mobile. You'll notice that it's in the middle. We're mobile first, so this is a mobile design. This is our search window at virtualstorefronts.com. So Selena, can you type in local honey? And then hit enter. H-O-N-E. H-O-N-E-Y. Okay, I do know how to spell honey. Okay, let's, so here's the 4 results for local honey. And the first result is a record store. So Google, no one, who here would say that they would expect a record store to have local honey? You would not expect that. The other is a cafe, the other is a retail market, and then there's a health and beauty store. So these are surprising locations that are revealed because of our keywords. So Selena, can you go ahead and click on Dean's storefront? Can you refresh? This goes as edge to edge. Okay, so now we're going to see where we see what's inside. It's closed. We're going to open that up. These keywords are something that the merchant doesn't have to maintain at all, but represents the inventory inside without it being inventory. And in this list, you'll find local honey. Once we get down to the L's. It's chronological, but you also see how much other things are there. Like you're really kind of absorbing the ethos of the business. There's local honey. So if you continue to scroll down, let's move past keywords. You're getting there's some service options there. Then there's a map that shows how far it is away from you. When you pin your location, it would show us from Bryson City to there. And then the hours, the rest of it has kind of a standard listing. And then business details is a description. That's a link to their current online profile. And then featured items are a few images of things that are featured. So if you can scroll back up, I think does anyone have questions about this? Okay, it's a tool where someone can search for something online and find it, and then find out all the information they need to go to the offline store. We're a bridge from online to offline. Okay, so that is a virtual storefront. That costs $199 a year, retail $99 in our pilot. So the reason that I'm here today in front of the TDA is because local shops are actually a huge feature of your tourism. And this is a little known fact. So Roger Brooks, he's like a national authority, Downtown Destination Association. He is the leading authority. He's worked with 2,000 towns in tourism. He says that 80% of spending locally happens after 5 o'clock. Tourist spending after 5. So tourists who come to your town, most of their spending is after 5 p.m., 80% of it, at local businesses. So this is something that you need to leverage. Your local shops aren't a charity, they're an asset full of things that people are looking for. So what we do as a technology company is we take your shops and we look at them in terms of these keywords and create an asset. And then take the shopper, provide them access to these shops, and it gives them a bridge from the online experience to the offline experience. So Airbnb, which is kind of, we're on the radar of Airbnb, is a good example of this type of technology. Airbnb is an online service creating offline experiences for real people. We're an online service facilitating offline experiences for people. This is a unique, groundbreaking technology. It happens to be next door, but our scope is national. And we're looking at Bryson. We would like Bryson City, we would like to make a proposal to Bryson City to put this entire downtown online and make it infinitely connectable between the public and the merchants. Now I'm going to show you an asset that we did. So our pilot program is kind of a prototype that we can feature to other markets. So what this represents is each QR code is a direct link to the first 50 businesses on virtual storefronts. This can be a poster, a placemat. It can be anything. What I do with it sometimes is I square out the business and say, "You are here," so that when people visit that business or put it in their window, and their door is locked, they can QR code and check out everything that's inside the business at any hour of the day. So this is a good example of how a network asset can be utilized in the field, which is something that I'm interested in developing with the TDA. Another example of this kind of asset is this sticker. So we have a door sticker, and we will be redeveloping this door sticker to have a unique QR code so that every business that has a storefront on their door will have their unique QR code so that when the door is locked, they'll be able to scan that. Imagine walking down walking right downtown on Main Street, and every local business has a unique QR code on their door that allows tourists to see when they're open, what they have, et cetera, et cetera. That's the kind of asset that we can bring using the backbone of our network. Our technology is the backbone. The front end of it has infinite possibilities, and I'd like to hear from the TDA about what kind of assets might be specifically relevant to this market. For example, this, I don't believe the TDA makes this, but I know I see it around town, but the classic town map. So we're in discussions with Hayesville right now about taking their town map, which is similar in a brochure form, and dropping QR codes on every single business so that anyone can preview and scan from their cabin 10 miles outside of town what there is available. Because this is not a holder of information. This tells you it exists like the phone book does, but it doesn't tell you what's inside. Right now, we're telling people what's inside the businesses in Cherokee County. Our pilot has we're just shy of 4,000 keywords for 65 businesses. Each one of those keywords is a solution that a shopper is looking for. So you're essentially, like the way that I see it is, the TDA has an opportunity to wire the entire town just overnight. It'll take us about a month to onboard the businesses, plug it all in, and all of a sudden you have a live, active, online to offline experiential platform that completes the shopper's experience in Bryson City and captures those 80% of the dollars that are being spent after 5 o'clock. Gets all that money here. And you're doing it by recognizing that the local shops are not a charity case or an afterthought. They are a feature. When I drove here today, I made sure to get here at least 1 hour in advance because I like to be early. Well, I was actually almost 2 hours in advance. I like to be early, but I also want to go to the coffee shop here. I don't want to miss that on my trip. You have an opportunity to leverage Main Street. Main Street's your front door of tourism. This leverages that asset by putting it into a really useful network. So that's what virtual storefronts is. That's the opportunity that I'm offering to the TDA. What I'd like to do is, I don't have a proposal. What I'd like to do is kind of open the dialogue and discuss which assets you would like to develop. Obviously, we have some ideas. However, each market is unique. People have their own ideas. So my proposal would be either we collaborate with the executive team to develop these ideas, and light work on the executive team, I guarantee it. We're very self-sufficient. But in order to guide the recommendation, or we can present to you an inclusive package that takes care of everything from design and printing assets to marketing on Facebook. So that's kind of what I'm looking for feedback on. Does anyone have any thoughts on that or how that might work, Jeremiah?
Yeah, can I ask a couple questions?
Yes,
First,
I would love to
just
answer some
popping in my mind.
questions.
So, who's your customer? Your customer's not the actual storefronts. Like, you had Andrews up here, I think. You don't have, how many, 20 or 30 listings on that? Are you contracted out individually to those store owners, or are you like the
Yes.
chamber in Andrews that has organized all that for you?
Our
Or how does
Okay, yes, good question. Our customers are the merchants, but we're not developing, our business model is not, that's not our business model. We developed that because that's the way we built our first network. Now what we have is a prototype that I can just hand to you. I can say, hey, Bryson City, you want one of these? Would you like one of these? Connect every single person online to every single locally owned business. Here, you have this. So you're my customer. We're digital infrastructure is really what we are. We're not much different than electricity or plumbing. What this does right here is this hovers above Cherokee County. There's a mirror that's just in the cloud above Cherokee County that any local shopper can reach out and grab that connects them to whatever business they want to get to. What we want to do is sell that solution to the local businesses. Hayesville is also very much looking into this. So Robbinsville, we also work with we also work with Russ Harris and people like that. So our vision is really broad adoption of entire towns. We do not want to retail it. Retailing is not very efficient, and the cost of this product is not prohibitively high. So it costs, a quarter mile of road is going to cost you about 25 online virtual storefront costs. You know, it's very, very cost effective. So 100 businesses in this market would be $10,000 at our pilot rate. We're talking, boom, you just created permanent digital infrastructure for the entire town for 10 grand. So I think that there's a lot of value in this as a tool, infrastructure, that it's a tourism tool, really what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, did you have another question?
Just how are people finding your tool, your online storefronts? I mean, is this something that they're Googling and finding?
Yes.
People? Is that how?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. So, is
So
that
if I Google downtown Bryson City, I mean, is that how, if we were participating in yours, does your thing pop up to the top of the?
it would in the future. So we're like a massive web presence. So instead of each local shop having their own website that's just floating out there into the you know, endless internet, we group together like an island. So each business that's in virtual storefronts is linked to every other business. So it's actually a massive, it's only locally owned shops, but they're actually a massive web presence in Cherokee County. So in terms of the vision is that they go to virtual storefronts and do a search. but we're not naive. We know that we're not Google. What is currently happening is Google is indexing all 4,000 of our keywords and allowing these local businesses to be results inside of Google. So it's a search engine coup. We're feeding search engines what they eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Those keywords, that's exactly what Google wants. Each storefront has more information than 99% of websites, and they take no time to set up. So in terms of driving traffic, our goal right now isn't to drive traffic to ourselves as search solutions. Our goal is to put Main Street online, right? Main Street is currently not online. Crazy, crazy concept in 2022, but it's actually a fact. 2/3 of the businesses in our pilot are using virtual storefronts as their primary solution. Many businesses have websites that they have not maintained, and they don't like them. They're like many of us have had websites that we've had to maintain. We take all, and they just default to they say things like, our virtual storefront is better than our website. We just send them there. So it solves the problem of a website for all of your local businesses. And for the businesses that have great websites, they love it too, because it supports their current web presence. So it's a very powerful product, and it's more powerful when there's broad participation. So that's why we're here at the TDA. You provide to your, in terms of heads to beds, you provide to each of those enterprises the tool that takes those heads and puts them down on Main Street, spends tons of money here, makes this a tourism experience from start to finish. Instead of just being dominated by one or two things, you take the latitude of your local shops and you transform that into this feature. That the shops are the feature.
What's your click-through rate?
What's that?
What's your click-through rate on your website there that you've got?
Click-through rate?
For the businesses on your site, what's their click-through rate that you get?
I'm not sure.
I don't, honestly, I'm hearing you, it's a cool idea, you're a great speaker and a great presenter, that's, be cool.
Thank you.
However, Google My Business and Google Maps, they just integrated as the same exact thing. So I mean, what sets you apart from what explosiveness and all-encompassing that Google has?
Okay.
Everybody's keywords.
That's a great question.
And I'll pull up in the same thing with Google, do much the same way.
So back to Roger Brooks, he has a 20-minute demo explaining how to log into Google My Business. We have a 10-minute demo showing how you can build a complete website solution from scratch at puttingmainstreetonline.com. We're simply a better solution than Google My Business. In terms of am I going to stand here and say that our traffic is better than Google My Business? No. But does Google My Business, does the Ferncrest Wineries Google My Business listing have any awareness that Jan Olson has woodworking crafts at her winery? No. The only reason Google knows that Jan Olson has woodworking crafts at her winery is because we put a keyword onto her storefront. We are teaching Google about what's available locally because we work directly with the local merchants. Google does not. Google is an enterprise technology that says, do it my way or forget about it. And what happens is the merchants are very frustrated. One of our taglines is, we're technology without the work. We don't make technology the merchant's problem like Facebook and Google do. We solve the problem and they don't have to do anything. So that's in terms of, don't get me started in the competitive space. But in terms of a solution, we're not marketing this as an instant marketing solution that funnels all of Google's traffic. What we're marketing is giving local businesses total control over their online presence because they can log into this 24/7, change it like a Facebook profile with no technical knowledge. and save it, right? And in the same iteration, we can hand you a super powerful tool that you can then use to drive traffic. We're the infrastructure. We're just an infrastructure company. We provide you with storefronts, and the storefronts can be expressed in 1,000 ways on the front end. We'll help you with that because, you know, we're not going to just leave you out there hanging right now and say, hey, look, we have a great thing, but we're not going to tell you how it works or how to put it into the public. We have plenty of ideas for that, and we can take care of that, but that's kind of the opportunity.
So I'm trying to put this together in a nutshell in my own head. And,
That's fair.
so you're coming to us, and what we can do as a TDA board, you're asking us to pretty much to put the town on your map, on the map of search engine for Google or whomever, but you're pretty much asking us to, instead of the retailer paying you the $199, come to us and let us do the entire block of all the local businesses downtown and us pay for it. First thing comes to my mind is, yeah, it's great because I know there's some mom and pops that's just not computer savvy and they'll never be on Google search. And there's some, more than likely, there's probably a lot that's already on Google. But the first thing that comes to my mind is if the local retailer is paying $199 for you to do the service for them, but yet we're going to take on a package deal and we're going to do 30, 40 businesses downtown. I don't see paying the $199 for 30 or 40 businesses if we're going to do a big, huge package deal. I'm looking, I guess in my mind, at some kind of proposal from you is there, you would tell us there's 40 businesses, 42 businesses downtown. Out of the 42 businesses, 30 of them needs this, 30 of them already has it, and would you be willing to pay for these 30 businesses to get them set up? And once they're set up, are you going to teach these retailers how to maintain this themselves without it going on with a fee, yearly fee for us? And that's where I'm standing as a board. I'm not looking at us for sitting around with a yearly fee to maintain somebody else's business downtown.
Yeah.
Yes, I do like the idea of advertising our downtown and getting our businesses, because I know that if my aunt or uncle were down there and they're not computer savvy, they're not going to have the access to someone like Aaron or Eugene that's on top of it, and you know, and advertising. So yes, I think it's a great idea. I as a board member would like some kind of proposal of, like I said, what you're offering
Sure.
to us in a package with an amount.
Yes.
So we're not sitting here in the dark trying to guess numbers and put
And this
together
is
something.
exactly why I wanted to present it and then get your feedback from you. That's great feedback. I appreciate that. I didn't catch your name, I'm sorry.
Shannon.
Shannon?
Yes.
So to respond to what you're talking about, at the beginning, you're saying, well, the idea was to put us online. Our idea is actually just to, and I like what I hear what you're saying. First of all, let's just address the first thing. If you're doing the entire town as a package, we'll work with you. We'll figure it out. Secondly, it's not really, yes, it's our service that is putting the town online, but it would be like saying, like the person who builds the sewer or the person who builds the electric system is actually the beneficiary. We're not really, what we're looking to do is put Bryson City online and Swain County, all inclusive in one in one stroke. So we're just a tool that does it. Like there are no other tools that do this. Google My Business doesn't, it's somewhat equivalent, but Google My Business is not it's not by consent. It doesn't have the cooperation of the local merchants. And then the other issue that you were talking about is recurring costs. You don't want to take those on. And I absolutely understand that. So what I would propose is that the TDA gets the ball rolling for a year, and then the merchants would then be responsible for doing their renewals. I think that would be fair. And I think that the merchants, so our sales rate is over 8 and 10. 8 out of 10 demos, it's higher than that at this point. We have a backlog of businesses that we're onboarding at this point. It's wildly popular with merchants. So as we develop the system, as we develop the network here, I think that they would find the benefit. And also the fact that this is saving a lot of merchants thousands of dollars in website costs. There's no web developer. They don't have to keep updating it. They don't have to call their webmaster. Hey, could you move the logo 3 inches over here because it's hanging off the screen? And then like 6 months later, not hearing back. All of that's fixed. We deal with all of that because we're just an enterprise system that solves that problem for our customer, the merchant. But Shannon,
Yeah.
thought?
No, well, just like I said, that I know as a board, and we're a pretty busy board.
Right.
It's easier for us if you come in with a package and say, this is what I'm offering. Out of the 45 businesses that's in downtown on Main Street and Everett Street, 25 of them's not set up, and here, if you guys will take the package, this is what it's going to cost. This is what I'm going to do, and then you're working with the merchant after that. If they want to carry on from year to year, I know personally myself and several others, Eugene can say the same thing with Google My Business and Google Ads. They work. Straight across
for
the
sure.
board. They work.
Oh, yeah.
It works.
Yeah. But you're like in the top 1% of
Yes.
business owners,
Okay.
I think.
So going back to us as a board, we're more of, we don't want a project.
I hear you.
I personally like the idea of getting the town on the map and people being able to know what each individual merchant has in their stores and how easy that would be with their smartphone to walk up to the door and see what's going on inside. Great idea. Just, I'm looking for a package.
I will come back to you with a package, I promise that,
Where are
Shannon.
you located, Toby?
We're located, our headquarters is in Andrews, or our field office is in Andrews. We're headquartered in Atlanta, so the company is Atlanta.
Let me make a suggestion. So our committee is operating subcommittees underneath. So we have a marketing subcommittee that focuses on, gets in the weeds on topics like this, and more time than we have available today to kind of dig in and answer everyone's detailed questions. If it's okay with them, maybe we punt this over to that group and then have follow-up to dig in all the detailed questions and things like that.
I think that it would be very helpful to have the guidance of someone internal. Is that Aaron, who's head of that committee?
Aaron's kind of the lead of that group, and
I promise I won't take too much time. I think that's great because I think that it would just be the way that I generally work, the way that our company works is we put together proposals, vet them, and then just get feedback. That's kind of how we iterate all of our products, is collect feedback and then develop and then come back with a redevelopment or tweak as needed. So, but learning basic principles about what you guys are looking for in general and how you work would be super helpful.
yeah, I think working directly with Mary Ann and our marketing group, you might get more accomplished than.
And I think the more footwork you do
Mm-hmm.
before you come to Aaron, and like I said, is finding out who needs it, who don't need it, and that gross, is
Well,
gonna
we
help her
think that
make a
everyone
decision.
needs it, let's be clear. Like it's not, I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but like the way that downtowns work, the way that shopping districts work is that if you have one restaurant in your shopping district, no one will be in it. If you have 3 restaurants, you become a district. So the more people that participate, the better it works for everyone involved. If I'm someone who has, like yourself, who knows what they're doing with Google, I don't want to be left out of the local, if I'm qualified, I don't want to be left out of this. It's simply more business, and it also supports your neighbor. It supports the entire network.
So all I was saying is the more footwork you do to sell your business is gonna make it easier for Erin,
Sure.
and in that department that she's in,
Our
to make
estimate,
decisions.
our estimate is about 135 businesses in the downtown area that are qualified. So, and Swain County, we'll create an estimate. Obviously, Swain County you'd want an estimate for the entire county as well, I assume.
Yeah.
This is at Swain, yes. Then that's the great thing, is that geography is not, it can include the entire geography of the area.
Yeah.
All right. I will follow up with you, Aaron. Okay. All right. Thank you for your time and
Thank you.
questions. You guys had great questions.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next up, got Mary Ann just doing her executive report.
Right, executive report is in your packet. Under marketing and public relations, the first set of reports behind the executive report are the Google Analytics for the new website. The packet, the report in the packet looks like this. Basically, there's 4 reports in here. One is showing the most popular pages, which these tend to be about the same every month. Yeah, obviously, it's things to do, the railroad, and then places to stay. And then we see some seasonal thing like tubing and Deep Creek, waterfalls, things like that. So it kind of gives you an idea of what kind of information people are searching for when they get on the site. The next page shows you our top states. And the only surprise in here for me, and this has been trending, is number 3, which is New York, which is unique. And just a little side mention here. This is Andrew Stanfield from the NOC, by the way, in case you're wondering who's here. He's not on the agenda, he's not here to speak, but I just wanted to introduce him and let you know that I did meet with some representatives from the NOC last week. This was at their request, but we had a really good meeting, talked about a lot of things, how we could partner. But they were telling me the same thing, that they're seeing an influx of people from New York. And that's just a different trend for us. And I don't know if you're seeing that, but it's been going on for several months now. So just kind of interesting for those
There's
of
a
you.
lot of people moving here from New
Oh,
York, because we wrote a lot of insurance for them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then if you go to the next page, which talks about the cities, of course, the top city is New York, New York. So, but that's probably the biggest city in America too. But followed by Atlanta, Chicago, and some of the other obvious ones in North Carolina. And then the last page basically shows you where people are coming from, how they're finding the site. And our number 1, by a long shot, is Google Organic. So that tells me, you know, that organically in our meta tags and our search terms, we still have a long way to go with that. But we're working on it all the time. And so I just want you to know that that's kind of where we're looking to get a lot of our traffic from, is Google Organic. We're getting a lot from, obviously, social media as well, Romantic Asheville, and then as you kind of get down the list, it gets a little smaller. But that's, this is for July. Public relations, the July report is attached. It's in your packet. Looks like this. So if you want to browse through that, you can see on the second page, they give us a publicity summary. So this is all the publicity that they generated for us in July. They got a social media overview, and just so you know, those of you that work with Instagram will probably appreciate this, but they're doing a lot more reels for us now rather than post. So I've really upped the reels and the stories, because the old-fashioned, I guess you call it old-fashioned, pictures just aren't really generating what the stories and the reels are. So in fact, I'm going to have a small team from the public relations company come to town for a couple of days, and we'll go from one end of the county to the other and just get as many video clips as we can, so they have enough information for months to come to do the reels and the stories.
And what they've been doing is really good.
Yeah.
Really good quality.
Yeah, they've got, you know, some really good people on that team, so I'm really happy with what they're doing with Instagram to kind of manage the shift. And for those of you that work with Instagram, I think you know what that is. Stories, reels.
I was gonna add, the reason you get a lot of this stuff for New York right now, you have a blogger, about weeks back, she did a thing from up there, there's a blogger there, she came to Gatlinburg and came over here, both to do some stuff. iTunes and that must be it, but
Yeah,
that's why you saw that spot.
yeah, that's great.
I had to look back up on that too, because I saw the pale. She has a blog and a TikTok thing, my daughter can message her at TikTok, and I bounced her up, looked at her stuff, and I was like, oh, cool, and went on, but I imagine that's what it was, she got a lot of likes on things.
We do have a TikTok account, and I post to it occasionally, and I think at some point I'll probably give it to Pineapple to manage more frequently than I'm able to. And we have under 100 followers, like 70 or 80. But it is a channel that we are on, just not very well established yet.
It's somebody like Selena with a cell phone,
Yeah,
you know,
yep. So that's basically the highlights in that report.
Do we have any new content out to highlights? We talked about this the last couple of months, the affordability or free type messaging out there. I know some of the things that are highlighted here
Yeah.
are affordable and free.
Yeah.
But are we using that terminology in anything that we do?
Yeah, so we obviously, we did a blog post about it, and we've been pushing that out on social media. Pineapple also pushed some information out onto Pinterest with that. They wrote a press release and have been sending that out to the media,
Okay.
just in general. So whether or not people are picking up on that story, we have yet to see it, but they are pushing it out there. I know last meeting you guys asked me to start a Google AdWords, which I did, and I'm just fine tuning it and watching YouTube videos and reading articles about tourism in general and how to manage all that. And I know a lot of you have been working with it for a while. I haven't worked with it for a couple years, so I'm trying to get caught up to speed, but I'll start bringing a Google AdWords report to this meeting. So I just wanted you to know that I'm kind of using that theme in promoting those kind of terms, at least right now. Instagram influencers, we are putting a plan together with Pineapple and Aaron. They're gonna get with me and you either late this week or early next week to set something up for next week, a Zoom call, and we'll start looking through everybody that they're recommending. So we'll do that. Your visitor totals are on the next page, showing visitor count for the visitor center and the aquarium. Visitor center is down again for the month of July compared to June. But we were down, in the month of July, we were down about 400 people on the 4th of July. So part of that, or like half of that variance is just because our 4th of July day of numbers were down. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the attendance. I haven't really heard as to what the attendance was, but there might be a relationship there. And then the aquarium is pretty much holding steady to last year. They're up by 46 people. On some days they do better than the visitor center, but that's good. I talked to you, I already mentioned this, but just that I had met with the marketing and management staff of the NOC, and you know, they had suggested that Andrew come to the meetings just to learn more about what the TDA does, and if there's anything that we're doing that they want to work on with us, or you know, piggyback on or partner with. It's always a good idea. So under financial, if you want to look at this report, this is your full year of occupancy tax collections, because this has a final July in it. And there's two percentages that would go way down in the bottom that I didn't get printed in time. But if you want to look at for the year, our percent change to prior year is up 5%. And our percent change to budget is up 29%. But I'm more interested in the change to prior year. We're up 5% over last year. We'll just have to see as the months go on, how the tax collections start coming in. And I think if you recall, we budgeted a 5% drop in occupancy tax collections for the year that we're in. it's too early in the month for us to have any idea what's happened in July. So,
So we've doubled in 3 years.
yeah,
Is that not
it's
amazing?
another way to look at it.
Wow.
Almost half of our lodging tax collections come from Airbnb and VRBO, which is just another statistic to just kind of have in the back of our minds. I don't have this in the report, but just to kind of let you know what we're working on right now, marketing-wise, is we're really starting to push, obviously, fall travel. We're updating our fall blogs. We're working on some new graphics as far as the leaf color changes. And we're also promoting Polar Express, because this is the time when people have to start thinking about that time frame to get the tickets on the days they want, if they still can. So we're ahead a few months and somewhat promoting this shoulder season that we're in, this August, September. The kids are back to school, it's a little quieter. So we are promoting that somewhat, but we're looking ahead to fall to start to get, that kind of wrapped up and move into Christmas. Can't believe we're talking about Christmas already, but. Okay, also under financial, the chamber submitted a sponsorship request for $2,000 for the trick or treat event this October. Last year you approved $2,000. However, this year you've authorized me to approve sponsorships of $5,000 or less. So I've given them approval pending 2 changes to their marketing plan. So as soon as I get that in writing, I'll send a formal approval. But that's what you all approved last year anyway, so.
Can we do that again where we pay the vendor directly instead of to them? I think we got more bang for our buck on the 4th of July than what was being done. I mean, that was.
Sure.
We saved a lot
That's
of
a good
money
idea.
that way this year. And I was curious, a question, seriously, the amount of candy that gets given and brought to the vendors, so how much that costs back?
Yep. We'll do that.
Just an observation of this.
So that means that we will pay everything up to $2,000.
That vendor for the.
Direct to the vendor. Okay. Also in your packet, was there anything else on that, on the trick or treat event?
What else are we paying for on that? Just the candy, is that what we've done every year? Or?
Yeah, I think I believe they spend more than that in candy, but
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was curious.
Yeah.
What did you allow us 5 to 10,000, came back a lot less.
Yeah.
What did that event look like this year? Is it just the normal, just candy and, they do costume contests or anything like that?
They haven't done that I don't think they did it last year. I'm not sure if they did it the year before or not.
Just the candy.
Hmm?
Just the candy.
Just the candy?
Didn't they do costume contests for
They
years
used
back?
to.
Yeah, they used to.
Some pretty amazing stuff, some Transformer guy or something.
To do booths or
Yeah.
games.
Oh, my God.
What's
Yeah.
that? My kids
This
won
year?
1 year,
No,
Did it?
not that I saw.
5 years, 6 years ago.
I'll ask them.
Be cute to do something like that again, that'd be awful.
There's so many kids though, I don't know how you get everybody.
Yeah.
That would be kind of difficult, maybe. I don't know.
You get some pretty cool stuff show up though.
Okay, the next item in your packet, even though it's been written on a few times, but at the last meeting,
Can I
you,
ask a question before we move on?
Yeah.
And Andrew, I hate to put you on the spot, but the NOC, what are you guys seeing in trends wise, or just from a macroeconomic standpoint, or what are you guys talking about as far as economic impacts and things like that?
We're definitely seeing a down trend in the adventure side of things. Pretty much pacing with, the same percentage of retail nationwide. So, as you know, we have huge retail presence in Gatlinburg and of course up in Canyon as well and stuff. So we look at that every week, see, kind of how we're sitting based on the national trends. But definitely, there's been a downturn in just traffic altogether in all of our outlets we have across the many states.
Okay. Is there anything we can do to help support?
Don't know if we have the answer to that yet, kind of
Okay.
see where the dust is gonna settle, and where
Right. That'll help. Okay, I hate to put you on the spot, I was just curious to hear. Okay, good to meet you.
Okay, I'm gonna move ahead to this drawing of the new fly fishing building. So this was provided to me by the county. It has already been flagged, and string around it, so they've already got it. If you wanna go look at it, it's already, marked off on the property, what that's gonna look like. But basically, over on the left side, you've got the existing, aquarium, and then this lighter vertical box here is actually a breezeway. And then you see the restrooms there, because as you know, I think you know this, that the restroom building that is there is coming out. So this basically goes right where that plumbing, or in the vicinity that plumbing would be. And then way over on your right side is the fly fishing building with a porch. And so I believe they're gonna make this look like a log cabin. Is that right, Rita? That's what I've been hearing. But this is,
Yep.
that's how I understand. They want it to look like an authentic log cabin
Yes.
to kind of fit with the whole campus. The barn and the grist, is it a grist mill? Grist mill.
Did you? I got a quick comment on the fly fishing. I had a man and a lady come down from Baltimore and stay last week, and they played tourist and went around town all day long. And when they came back, I was actually out there cleaning their fire pit, because they used a lot of firewood. And so I was cleaning their fire pit, so I got to talk to them a minute. And they just was really going on and on how much they love the Fly Fishing Museum. All the cool things that's inside of it, the old things, but they made one comment, was the only thing that was a downside of our Fly Fishing Museum, and they hit everything. They hit the aquarium, they hit the Heritage Museum, and they just love the Fly Fishing Museum. But the only down thing was, he said the lady was in there that was working, was no help, wouldn't answer no questions for them. They had a lot of questions about different things. Pretty much, she didn't even want to talk to them, so it was just kind of wandering around inside the place. And I didn't say anything. I didn't say I was on TDA or anything to do with the Fly Fishing Museum. I just listened to them and told them that I know the county is trying to build a new building and make it a bigger, better attraction. But that comment was brought to me when I was talking with these folks. So it's going to be nice to have someone inside that Fly Fishing Museum that actually knows something about the things that's hanging on the walls and the people that's names are mentioned on the walls. You know,
Is that your second?
us from the town and from this area, we might know who Mark Cathy is, but these people don't know who Mark Cathy is, you know. And Mark Cathy is like Horst Kephart. I mean, he's big for Swain County. So it'd be nice to have someone in that museum that can actually answer some of these questions of who these people are, and what this is, and what type of fly this is, and that's hanging on the wall, to make it that nice attraction. If we're taking on this project, and it looks like we are, because we're fixing to build a building, and I don't know where we stand with the MOU on this yet.
I'll get with the county manager on that. because he's
To make
got-
sure we still, before we're dropping several
Yeah.
$100,000 into this building, if we're taking on this project, it's kind of like the aquarium that was dropped in our lap. We need to really make it enjoyable for people to go in there.
Maybe something to see, we're spending all this
Yeah.
money to come this far.
Yes.
I had people last week in here, was going down there to it, and tried 3 different days to get into it, and it wasn't even open, they
Wasn't
couldn't
open.
get in there. They were coming to the fly shop, and he said, hey, do you have a key to that museum? I was like, you know, surprisingly, I don't. I said, I'm actually on the board with this thing, and I said, I don't have a key to it, I'll take you down there myself, just walk you through, show you stuff.
Yeah.
And, but they come in the shop trying to figure out when it was open. It was like, it says it's open, but it's not. And I was like, well, yeah, I don't know what to tell you with that. I really don't. I mean, that's kind of embarrassing. But,
We get that at
everyone
the
does it.
visitor center too.
Yeah, I would imagine. And, I mean, it's a pretty cool thing, you know, a lot more exhibits, I think, that we got in stores and what's out there as well,
Mhm.
too.
think people really like it if they can
Oh, yeah,
just,
they
just
like
get in
it.
there
Yeah.
and really check it out. There's some really cool stuff in there.
The one in New York State gets a lot of traffic, the national one, I mean, mega traffic. Well, so this one could be in that part. I mean, they advertise and market it just a little bit. I don't think it costs them a lot of money to put it out in like Trout Unlimited magazine and things like that. And those guys eat it up and they'll promote it for them, basically. They'll let them host some things there, some like inductee stuff, different whatever, and then they'll put it out in a national magazine, about, I don't know, maybe about 200,000 circulation of that thing. And those folks travel, and most of those guys are retired, but they get out and go fish these different streams and places, and they would come here for it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So back to the museum again, they're looking to break ground on this soon.
Mhm.
I mean, within,
Yeah.
within days soon.
Yes,
So I'm still curious with this
right.
MOU.
Yeah, I will ask, I have asked, and I've been told it's in progress, and I'll ask again to make
Okay,
sure.
okay. I mean, I know that we could always use the building if it wasn't a fly fishing museum, and I'm hoping that that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, the county manager has just asked that since he in the past has worked directly with the fly fishing museum people in the past, that he would just continue that dialogue,
okay.
and that there's been conversation and it's moving, but to this day and time where it is, I'll find out, let you know.
Size of this building's good, everybody. It's
Well, I
about
mean, it's
1,000
gonna be
square
what
feet.
it's gonna be. You know, I'm sure if we wanted to make it bigger, it's, the main thing is the space over there. You know, we have the farmer's market there every weekend, and it's a huge event. And they've moved it into the barn, but now we're taking up a lot of that grass space. There used to be a lot of vendors in there, so I think we're gonna have to settle with what we can get in there and still try to keep the farmer's market and everything that we've got going on there every weekend.
Okay. That was the thought process, because I remember this was an L-shaped format,
Yeah,
so it's changed now, and it's all linear, and I think
Why
the
is it
building's,
not L-shaped?
building's a little small. I'm assuming.
I think
for
by
service.
putting it in an L shape, you're cutting off the barn, the traffic, because the way they've got it flowing now, I don't know if you've been over there during the farmer's market, they're flowing from the barn through, and it's just like a one full flow, but if we put an L there, it's gonna block that flow, and they're gonna have to go around.
Maybe you go through the fly fishing museum, check it out. I don't know, I mean, I get it with the.
And we've got the mill we built on the corner, and it's still in process, it's not finished.
Oh, they still have to finish that meal.
I don't think it's
I
still
haven't
working.
been down there, I was down there one night, we fished down there. Yeah, it
And
was-
that barn is great, because they've been using it now, and they're in the barn, in the shade, but that's only so big, you know?
Yeah.
Is the current design gonna be one story?
I'm pretty certain,
It's gonna be one
Yes.
story?
It's one story because the cost of an elevator would be way
For
too
public.
Let me
much.
see.
Gotta be handicap accessible. They wanted to make it look like a homestead. They want the old
Yeah.
log cabin, the barn, and they've got the grist mill that we just built down there.
Pretty cool, I mean, look nice.
And, you know, later
Thank you.
down the road, we may have more parking eventually down there, but, you know,
Yeah,
right now it's limited.
yeah,
It's limited in that corner. Maybe somebody will buy Manus's and put a parking lot over there.
that's a novel idea.
We just wanted, Rita just checked to see if the county manager was available to answer questions, but I'll get with them tomorrow or the next day and get some of these questions answered. Also under administrative, as far as an operational plan for the event park, I've been reaching out to other TDAs and jurisdictions, and I'm not getting a whole lot of help. I'm just looking for other models of what other communities are doing with their event space, event park. I reached out to Chris Kavanaugh, and I think most of you know who he is. He's with, he'll come to me in a minute, but he's had his own consulting company, and he strictly consults with tourism development authorities in the state of North Carolina. He has a lot of contacts in this area. He's gonna send me a proposal. He said it won't be much, because it won't take a whole lot of his time, But he's gonna give me a proposal to actually do that legwork and that research to find out how these other event parks are being operated, whether it's by, you know, the county, or is it a TDA, or is it its own division of a county, or whatever. He's gonna break all that down for us, make those phone calls, but he's gonna give me a price first. When we do a little bit of money in the budget for consulting, so if it comes within those budget parameters, I'll go ahead and pull the trigger on that. Because I think we'll get some good information. You know, right now, we're just kind of guessing and looking at salaries and funding, and I have more questions than answers myself. I know at the last meeting, Jeremiah, you recommended I go to the marketing committee. I'm like, well, it's hard to take anything to y'all if I can't get the information, so I want to.
Is this
Get
the
that.
same Chris that walked us through the TDA rules and regulations and all that?
Yes, yeah,
It's the same thing.
yeah.
Have you contacted anybody at Gatlinburg's chamber? I know several of those.
I've
ladies over
not.
there.
I'm not.
Maybe
They
if you
have a
contact them,
convention center, right?
They've got all kinds of stuff. They've got what we would dream of, seriously. But they're very nice, very helpful, I'm sure they'd
Oh,
be thrilled with something.
Okay.
Yeah, I reckon us taking together, killing it. We're trying to do a few things over here, you got any help?
yeah, and that's the chamber, right?
Yeah, it's a visitor's bureau there. Sherry Webb would be who you'd want to talk to.
Yeah, they're really, he's right, they're really good. They reach out to us about fall events and things
Oh.
like that too, so they're really.
Okay, that's good.
And they're very good about working with everybody around them.
Yeah, they're not like all,
That's what I would do.
like our neighbors around here would be. It's not.
Right, okay. Good, I'm glad to have a name. I'll call and find out what they're doing.
She's been nice. You can drop mine if you want to. She does that.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, beautification committee, basically, I mean, we only have one member here today. Of course, Ron was on the committee, but while he was, on the board, he's still kind of helping us finish this Christmas plan, the Christmas 2022 plan. Just so that you know what is in progress right now. We placed an order for new snowflake lights, and those go on the tall Duke Energy poles on Veterans and Main Street. So we have selected that snowflake, which is gonna be much better than the ones that we had. So we placed an order for those. And just out of curiosity, is there,
Me, I'll take them.
I think so too.
okay.
Just one second though. Shannon's gonna look and see if we can use some of our old ones, like farther on the end of either side, end
Use
of
them
town.
whatever, but if you have any extra,
Good.
I mean,
Yeah.
me and Aaron
I'm gonna
split some.
say that we will.
Yeah.
I can almost with certainty tell you that we will.
Awesome.
And
Think we've got-
basically, I think what needs to happen is, you know, you have to change out the light bulbs, but other than that, they work.
I think we've got 50, is that what you said, 50 of them?
Oh,
And I'd like to, the new ones, we're gonna place them in town.
Light up my house.
The new ones, we're gonna place in town, but if there's existing poles like going out toward Kirkland's Creek or toward the high school, because I know the sidewalk goes up the high school to the Black Hill, if those are still, we can still put a few there just to stretch it out of town a little bit. I'm still, that's, I'm not gonna use a lot, because she was saying there need to be metal poles and things like that, and even going like out toward Ingalls, I don't think those are metal poles, so I don't think we're gonna be able to use a lot. It'd be nice to use some of them, just to stretch it out of town a little bit further than in downtown, but there's 50 of them, so there's gonna be a lot left over, I'm sure.
So our timeline is just gonna be when the new ones actually arrive.
Yeah.
And we don't know exactly when that will be, but when we get them, we'll have those available. And I guess we'll have to wait and see how many we have after we do a few other light poles. Is there anybody else that's besides Afton and Aaron? Wants to? I'm coming to y'all's houses if that's,
I don't know.
I wanna see.
Consider
I
putting
know a
some
lot
that
of
need
local
more.
people come to the farm, even though I.
There you go.
Yeah,
How long does that take y'all to do all that anyway?
not too bad, about a week.
About a week? Some of the thing looks like Shadrack's you drive by.
It's done.
It's cool as it is.
They got triple as many lots ordered now.
you go up.
I got triple the amount of lots. It's hard to find the snowflakes, so y'all got lucky finding the snowflakes. They're hard to get.
Like the initial snowflake that we chose, couldn't get it in time.
I had them ordered in and it just sent me a thing the other day saying that it refunded the money back for them because it couldn't send that stuff order.
Wow.
So this might work out.
Yeah?
What do you guys do, like tractor rides, like?
It's fun. Yeah, people like it. It's
That's
a good
cool,
one.
I wonder what you do.
Give them hot chocolate and we ride. And my brother sits over, they play like Christmas music. It's fun.
That's
Have a good
cool.
time.
I should.
It's cold, but it's fun.
Also under Christmas, when I refer to the exit 67 triangle, that's if you're getting off, if you are, I guess, westbound on the 4-lane and you get off at exit 67, right before you make that right turn, there's a triangle,
The flagpole.
flagpole, where there's flagpole, if you've ever noticed it. The beautification committee wanted to do something on that corner. What we had selected is not going to be available, and Shannon also has reached out to the DOT to actually get permission to put anything there. And there's no power, you said, right? There's no.
No, there's no power. The lights that's in front of that flagpole are solar.
Okay.
And yes, I have contacted DOT and sent all the paperwork in for us to, we were wanting to put a Bryson City sign there. And also put Christmas decorations when Christmas comes around. Sent all that in to the DOT and I'm still waiting for an email. It's gotta go to Raleigh and it may be next year probably if we think of it. So no, we can't put a flower up there if we wanted to.
What about a metal sign, like a metal DOT sign? Is that what you applied for?
No, I want to,
Just like a welcome to Bryson City, like they
yeah,
have in
Bryson
Grand-
City
Grand
sign
County
with
has
rock
one.
work, like if you're pulling into the Great Smoker National Park, you've got all the rock work.
They approve
And then
that
our
stuff
green
regionally.
sign, huh?
They're supposed to approve that regionally.
No, it's gotta go through the DOT because if it's a right of way through there, an easement from the DOT and they won't let you plant a flower up there. But anyway, I've sent all that paperwork to Raleigh. Hopefully we'll get an answer from them.
Also, there's 2 other areas that we have always decorated, and we've been very challenged with electricity, and that's the 2 bridges that go over the Tuckasegee. So we call the upper bridge, the one on Everett Street, and so Mike Glover, who works for us, has been working with the town of Bryson City to get electricity on both sides of the bridge, so we don't have to be running any extension cords under the bridge or anything that might not be perfect. We want to do it right, because if you remember from last year, the bridges were not always lit. There were issues. So I spoke with the town manager yesterday, actually via email, and asked her to order us 2 light poles with outlets, one's on either side. This would replace poles that are there. It would match what they already have in the town, and that way we could light both sides of the bridge. I believe those are $1,300 each, but she's gonna give me a price. But that will kind of solve that issue for the long term, so that the bridge is always lit. The lower bridge, was it Mike and you, Rita, that worked with Mountain Ford?
He talked to Mountain Ford, yeah.
So Mountain Ford is gonna let us plug into their sign. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, but there's.
We're gonna have to get an electrician to fix us a box or something that goes on to the sign. You know, it can't hinder the sign or anything like that. But we've got the electrician that put in our generator, Shannon. He's the one gonna come and look at it and see what we need done. But they have given us permission to do it again there, which will help us. Because, you know, that stayed out a lot because it was being unplugged underneath the bridge.
So that's pretty much the end of the executive report. Did you have any questions?
Yeah, I got a question on the budgeted review, the expense statement.
Mhm.
How much, as far as last year, because I know we're in the new year, how much last year, I'm looking back at these journal entries on the event park, did we use, and how much was that line item? Was it 40 or 40,000?
The line item for this year,
Yes.
the line item, let's see, we have, for this year, we have $305,000.
Right.
170,000 is that stage.
Is the stage.
75,000, I believe, is for improvements. And, I think I meant like, I think there's like 48,000 plus maybe another 10,000, so let's say 60,000 for operations or payroll.
So last year, didn't we have like a $40,000 line item?
No,
for-
we had 75.
It was
then, too.
75 last year?
Yeah.
So the items that's listed in this journal entries for the event park, is this all connected to the big metal barn they built up there? Or is this, I know that Bobby had mentioned they've started the bathrooms, or have they finished the
The
bathrooms?
bathrooms are finished.
Bathrooms are
The
finished.
big expenses in July.
Now, I'm not talking about the first set of bathrooms. We're
Okay.
building the second set of
The
bathrooms.
second is done. They just,
Okay.
one of the expenses, one of the POs that we just recently got was for the dividers for the restrooms, that divides the stalls.
And did we get the well drilled?
Yes.
Second well's drilled.
Second well's drilled, so we got the water now.
Yes.
Yep.
Because I was just looking at the event park, some of these items, like from carpeting company, where's the carpet going? Is there offices up there or something?
Carpeting?
Yeah.
It's not for this, the tile work, tile,
No, it might have been tile for the bathrooms.
because the
Tile.
back tile went in.
Oh, is that what it is? Williams carpet?
Yes.
It went in the first one, the second one that was built, and then they were redoing the floor in the first one with new
Oh,
tile.
they redid the floor in the first one, okay.
The big expense for the event park in July was for the bleachers.
Bleachers, right, right. So how much, so far have we whittled down on this New Year's budget
Well,
for the
we're
event park?
if you look at this and you go down
Yeah.
to event park, we're at 78,000.
Okay, we're
And
78.
from what I understand, almost to the bottom,
Uh-huh,
90, 6,500, 080.
mm-hmm.
For the month, 78,000.
Have you already ordered the event stage and things like
No.
that?
And I was gonna just talk to the county manager about that, make sure that this is still, the one he recommends. I did ask Rita to get an updated price. It's a little bit more,
Okay,
but not much more,
20,000 more.
right? But it's
Okay.
not 190, it's more like when I budgeted 170, I was assuming the price would go up.
Yeah.
So I had a little fluff in there.
okay,
But I think it's gonna be like 175,
Yeah.
okay.
somewhere
That's
in
the
there.
big price.
So it's not terribly, well, it is a lot of money, but before I pull the trigger on that, I'm gonna verify with the county manager that, this is, the time is right, because here's why. We have, part of purchasing this stage is they need to train 3 people on a 3-day program.
Okay,
They call it intensive training. And I wanna make sure when we order it, get our timeline, get it paid for, that we can commit to getting 3 county employees into a
That's-
3-day.
3 county employees that's
Gonna set
y-
that.
younger employees that's gonna be here for the next 20 years and not retiring next week.
Right. So, I'm getting ready to order it, but I just wanna get a couple questions answered
Yeah.
before all of a sudden it ends up on our
So
front door.
So I guess one of my questions I'm having with this event park is really leaning toward Kevin, and was he coming in here?
He's not here.
He's gone for the day. Okay, because didn't I just read, did you read in the Smoky Mountain Times that they're talking about purchasing, land that, we had talked about purchasing land that connects with the event parks for parking? Didn't I just read that in the Smoky Mountain Times? You didn't read it?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I didn't see it either.
It's something that's been brought to us, it's supposed to be
Well,
proposed
we
to
had
do
talked
so,
about it
yeah.
before, that we liked the idea of purchasing the land,
Additional property.
yes, for parking. But I think that I just read in the Smoky Mountain Times that the county commissioners in their last meeting was discussing purchasing a property next door. And I guess I'm wondering, is that gonna fall back on us on the percent that we're already paying for the turntable and the event park? You know, it's about paid off. Are we gonna roll that into buying this next piece of property? Is that the idea? That's why I'd like
I'll find
Kevin to
out.
be in here, because,
Yeah.
I mean, is that our idea of rolling that mortgage payment into?
I thought that was gonna be already allotted somewhere else.
We'll find out. I'll find out.
We do need the amortization on those. We
Yeah,
asked for those
I'll
for
request
several
it again.
months.
We've asked for that for 2 years. Or more.
Or, I guess I just want us as a board to know where we're standing with this, the 2% that goes to the county that we pay on the turntable and the event park, that we've been paying on for many, many years. And that comes to an end. That 2%, is that coming on to our budget now, or are they looking, as the commissioners, looking to take that 2% and reinvest it somewhere else, and we're still making mortgage payments? I guess that's where I want to be in the loop of where this money's going.
Yeah. I'll find out.
And it's definitely a good question, where the money's going. And are we gonna have any kind of say of where this money is going? Or is it just out of our hands, and that's, just forget about the 2%?
Yeah, it's gonna continue going.
The rest of the financial report is your bank statement and your credit card statement. And that is the end of my section. Does anybody have any questions?
Anything that needs to be reported on charging stations or Four Corners?
I can fill you in on the charging station. I talked to the electrician this morning. The charging stations are functional right now, the 4 that's over there. They can pull up and charge their vehicles. We're still waiting on low voltage, and getting a router put in to where it can use the computer system, to where we can go through Siemens program to use cards to swap in them, and also charge. I know that the board voted to charge a fee for those stations, but my suggestion is, as of now, this year, maybe even next year, don't worry about a fee, don't charge a fee, leave them free, like every other area around here right now. Cherokee's free, Jackson County's free, everybody's free right now, simply because they're not, I don't think the state has figured out, North Carolina state, now other states has figured out how they're gonna charge this fuel tax. I've been told that it may be charged when they pay for their inspection and taxes like you do every year to get your vehicle inspected. They'll pay an additional charge if you own an electric car. My argument to that would be is, if I was an electric car owner, why am I gonna pay more than someone else that's just going to the pump and paying at the pump? So we'll let the state work that out. I'm suggesting we don't worry about charging a fee right now, just let people charge their cars as they please and get people using them. But we definitely need to get on Siemens map and get on some of these other VersaCharge and some of these other apps that people use with electric cars, that's gonna show Swain County or Bryson City as a place to charge their vehicles. But
They are functional.
they're
now.
functional right now,
Like
they're
I said,
functional, we're just waiting on the low voltage really for the computer aspect of it.
Okay, so people can
And,
use them.
yes, they can use them. So,
Is all we got now is just the 4?
just 4.
So,
And Kevin was, my understanding, was gonna come to our meeting and explain to us and answer questions about the rest of them, but he's not here and I can't speak for him. But when I spoke to him, he said he would come to our meeting and answer all of our questions, because I said, you guys had a lot of questions, asking me, why can't we do this, why can't we do this, or why can't we do this? It'd be nice if he's sitting in here to answer those questions for us.
I'll see if he can come to the next meeting. I'll get
Yeah.
some of these other questions answered ahead of time,
Yeah.
but I'll see if he can come to the next meeting.
And then he can answer some of these questions. But no, we've got a meter over there, the meter's ours. It's gonna be our bill to pay for. And I know the board voted unanimous to charge a rate for these, but, we can't charge yet until we get on the computer system, until we get the low voltage put in. And then it's up to us to decide when are we gonna start charging, and we need to get with Siemens and their corporation and find out a national average of what would be charged and figure out a rate to charge for these. Yes, I personally think that eventually we need to start charging a rate, because someone has to pay for that power bill. You go to the gas pump, you pay for gas, you go charge your electric car, you pay just like anyone else would. I don't think it should be free, and we should foot the bill.
Yeah, if we keep it free, people are gonna leave it for a longer time.
They'll leave it all day long plugged
They
up.
don't-
So,
That's the only downside
yeah.
was that.
so
if you don't
eventually I
charge-
think we'll start charging, but as of right now, people can pull in there and use them, and they're available. That, we just need to get it out there. Nobody knows. I mean, we need to get with Smoky Mountain Times and let them go ahead and do an article, and, you know, they're usable, they're there. And then, like I said, get on some of the apps that I have my cabins on. I think it's called VersaCharge, or not VersaCharge, but
Is there a law about how long you can leave your car parked in that county parking lot down there?
they park there overnight. I asked Kevin that, and Kevin said that they're not supposed to be parked overnight, but they don't have a tow-away service. They don't have a regulation stating that if you don't park here for so long, it's not posted, that you'll be towed away. PlugShare. PlugShare is one of the apps that a lot of people use for the electric vehicles. We need to get listed on PlugShare, and a couple, Siemens has one that's worldwide too.
Can you guys get us signed up for, can your staff get us signed up for the apps? Get us on the
PlugShare.
apps?
Are you gonna have local electric car owners coming and plugging it down there?
Well, I mean, it's for whomever, but
Huh?
Probably, I got one ordered, so.
Which one is yours?
Oh, you got an electric car order?
I think what's gonna happen is the 4 that we have are gonna be full all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's gonna happen pretty quick, because a lot of people own electric vehicles. I think you said you have an electric vehicle, didn't you?
No, sir.
Okay, well, a lot of people have electric vehicles. I've seen the influx this year at my rentals that I've ever seen in my life. That's one of the greatest features I put in my cabins, was these EV charging stations. I mean, I guarantee you go to my house right now, at least one of my cabins is a Tesla or an electric vehicle set up there. I mean, it's, people are, and I think you said when you went to California that 90% all vehicles down there are electric.
Everything I saw, I mean, most everything you saw an electric car, you saw some exotic supercar with a celebrity.
Nobody driving F-450s and 250s.
Nowadays days, you won't see that.
No.
We just got one order it does, you can do both. It has a gas engine in it, and it has electric too, runs straight electric if you wanted to, but it'll utilize both.
I wish we would have ordered the van electric when we decided to order y'all's van. Just for the advertisement and TDA, and this is, you know,
It's kinda cool, it's different, I'm still curious about how it's all gonna work, but
I am too.
they charge yourself back when you hit the brakes on some of them, for you to brake, charge you back when you hit the brakes. Don't understand how that works, but you still plug it up at night, so keep it about 80%, and you charge it back up, so.
I'd like to know how much radiation they put off.
Yeah.
You're thinking all these,
Talking about that
how
about.
much, you're just sitting in a room full of radiation.
Yeah.
So we can get registered on the app, and then,
Yep.
maybe contact Jessica and see if we can do a thing similar
Yep.
to what we did with the pool.
Yep. We'll do it.
Is there a process, or where we can add the rest of these charges there instead of get banging around in storage? I mean, I'm a firm believer, I think.
That's why I was
Just
hoping-
interfering with somebody else's
I was hoping he'd be in here and he could answer some questions, because I know for a fact, I know where they're at right now. They've been moved 2 or 3 times, and they're getting thrown from one spot to the next.
Yeah, I think it-
And I thought we had purchased a building from the county a couple of years ago that we bought,
That's
paid
the
for in
one
full,
we
and I don't know if we're even getting to use it yet.
Really? That was 3 years ago almost, wasn't it? 2
Yeah.
years ago?
Yeah. Now, if we can move our stuff into our own building, you know, and it's not getting banged around, but I know us as a board, we voted
Oh,
to
we've
purchase, I
already
think it
paid
was
for it,
$10,000 or $15,000 this building.
Yeah, we paid for it already, didn't we? We did, yeah.
And I don't think we're getting to use it yet, are we? Okay, so we're still paying for storage and bought the building.
Huh? That's KP too.
No, because they moved it all to the barn, didn't they? Yeah, okay, yeah, they moved it all to the barn,
The barn.
yeah. So,
Okay, so maybe we'll get resolution on,
Some
what the
answers.
plans are with that row, and then say after that, if not, we'll figure out alternatives to, offer them down the street.
and, the alternatives is, try to use them in other areas, rec park and places like that. It's county building, the administration building, we could put a couple there. We've been told that we could if we wanted to, and we could. The only question with that is then, we kind of took everything that's gonna be in one spot. It's gonna be easy to maintain. We've already ran all this electrical and put the power there, and now we're getting internet and all there. So if we take on another project and we put some at the administration building, we put some at the rec park, those are still county, and they're, we may be buying another, power pole and another meter, and it could go on and on. It was nice that we were having it all collected in one area, and then it goes back to 2 years from now, can you get those that we already have and they all match? And I think we need some answers from the county, and so we would know how to move forward.
Okay, thanks for the update. Next item we've got is, just under board discussion. Afton, you had something on there with countywide alcohol sales?
Yeah, I think it'd be something that maybe the TDA should do, because you guys are always talking about things for tourism outside the town. My business, other businesses have came to talk to me about it. It'd be good to have a TDA support on getting a resolution to the Board of Commissioners to pass, to have it on the ballot during the primary, to allow us to have alcohol in the county since we have it. It'd be more revenue for the county as well. And it would benefit other businesses like Deep Creek. A lot of gas station owners towards your side of the county are always saying they can't sell alcohol. It helped their revenue a lot, especially with gas prices. They're having to fight that themselves. I think it's time that we get to that point. I think we're in the new century, and there's ways to control it. I understand it can be out of control, and our sheriff's department might not appreciate it because it can become kind of a headache, but I do think it's already out there, but it'd be nice to have businesses be able to utilize alcohol sales, including my own.
I think it's moving forward, like you said, but the times has changed.
From what?
But from looking at it from my view, politician, they're not gonna want to even look at it, honestly.
No, I know they're not gonna look at it, but we have to try.
I know, we need to try,
Yeah, I
because
think if the TDA could, I do think it's a resolution. We gotta allow the county to have that as an option to vote. If the county says no, then no. But I think the Board of Commissioners should be allowed to hear that. We have plenty of alcohol downtown. Like I said, it's the 21st century. Everybody that comes here for tourism comes to my farm and cannot believe we don't sell
I
alcohol.
think if we put it in their lap, they have to address it. But like I said, election time, a lot of politicians don't want those controversial things in front of them at election time.
Absolutely, and it could be a timely process, and I understand that, but I do think
Well,
that needs to be brought up now.
Yeah, because we can request the commissioner
Yeah,
for the.
I think that, and there's a lot of support on both leaning parties right now that want alcohol now, so I don't think that would be necessarily a conflict at this moment.
Well, I'm gonna say, as a member of this board, I won't support that. I just want you to know that up front,
Okay.
okay? I understand your business and,
Yes, ma'am.
and everything, but I'm not gonna support that, okay?
Thank you. Is anyone here aware of just the process to get, this resolution to the county board to have a referendum and the timelines involved in that? Does anyone have any idea of those types of timelines that we're working with to do something?
It has to be 90 days before an election for a county to be able to pass a resolution.
Is that something that we as a TDA, be involved in? Is that something that you get the county to sign so many people on a list that want it and try to take it to the commissioners? I mean, is that something, is that a TDA thing, I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
What's the process to get something on the ballot? Is that a resolution of the county?
Yeah.
Anything, not just the.
Right.
Is that how?
Yeah, that's my question.
I'm ignorant on the process.
That's my-
I asked Kevin, he broke it down for me the other day, and I'll just re-quote
Okay.
what he told me.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Sorry, give me a moment. The Board of Commissioners would pass a resolution asking for the question to be placed on the ballot.
Okay.
We have to get the resolution passed at least 9 days prior to the election day, and it would work better in a primary than a general election. They usually don't want that on a general election.
So do we as a board, or do we
You
just
present-
individually?
I mean, I
as-
don't know if the
as
board
a
doesn't want to
citizen?
support it, that's fine, I just think it should
I'm
be
just
mentioned. As
wondering-
a tourism business, who I think does a lot of tourism, brings a lot of people to my little
I guess
farm.
I'm wondering how the pull of the TDA is gonna have pull over the entire opinion of the county. That's what I'm trying to say is that something that you get some kind of referendum signed by a majority of the county and then take it to the commissioners and say, we've got 350 people that want this?
I think an individual
mean-
can bring a resolution to the.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
I guess I'm asking, where does it stand for us as a TDA board?
I think maybe I was more or less just asking opinion, what everybody's opinion is on it. As tourism, I think it does affect us some. It affects my tourism business as a county business.
I'm gonna make a suggestion, open to input, but, if you wanna take this on, as an initiative, then maybe, draft a resolution, bring it into next month's TDA meeting, and, you know, it's something that we could vote on at that point. And now that you've entered the topic into our minds, then, you know, we'll have a chance to discuss it, think about it, and then make a decision then, on how to proceed. Any other,
Well, I guess I'm thinking back of how the commissioners put the heat on us about the Four Corners. You know, they didn't even want to deal with it unless they had the county's input. It's going to be kind of like this alcohol. Commissioners going to look at it, you know, we're not going to put anything into this unless we know how the county stands. How does the people of the county? You know, we're just sitting here and there's 8 people of the TDA, and yeah, we're tourism, and yeah, you know, alcohol may or may not help tourism. But where's the county stand, you know?
Well, it becomes a vote on,
yeah.
by the
we just
county.
asked
It
for a
doesn't just get
referendum.
passed.
We're not making the decision.
Right, right.
No, it just gets brought in as a resolution that gets put on a ballot and the county votes for it then.
And I'm gonna be honest, I'm fairly indifferent about the topic. I think it's a good thing commercially for everyone, but I think if it's in the hands of the public on a referendum, then ultimately the constituents make the decision. And we're all one of those.
That's all everything goes on commission, everything goes for
Okay.
Yeah, so do you mind doing that?
No problem.
Getting this
I'll work
in?
on
And I
it.
don't know if, that's something the county attorney could assist with, is, you know, because the appropriate format and everything is.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
So right now, right now, only alcohol sales are inside the city? Is that what it
You have
is?
to be within city limits. There's certain little rules they have if you're so far from a national park or a resort, like NOC
Like
has
you-
the rules.
You can sell if you have.
Maybe you can tell us exactly how they have those rules, but there's just little things people get away with as like resort license.
You have
But
to have a
through the
tennis
state.
court.
You gotta have.
You have to have a tennis court.
a tennis court,
You gotta have a tennis court.
well, I know some, I heard from the ALE downstate that people can have cornhole competitions and get away with it, but I don't know if that's necessarily
No.
true or not.
No, it's not true. You gotta have a tennis court like resort.
Resort
to get
type, understood.
the beer license or the license.
And this is sales by the drink. It's not like going to Amoco and buying beer from a convenience store.
You
There's-
can't even really do that, I mean, you can't go Like I know Jack Parton's store, they can't sell alcohol there,
Okay.
and it's something they were wanting to do as well.
Okay,
People going to the lake.
okay. That's weird because Fontana Marina sells a beer.
Yeah, but it's a resort.
That's Graham
Yeah,
County.
they get resort,
That's Graham
they got a
County.
resort license.
Okay,
Yeah, actually Fontana Village is its own municipality too.
okay. 'Cause I know
For the same reason.
Fontana
yeah.
Marina has, they sell beer.
Yeah, they're part of Fontana Village.
Okay, okay.
They're under Fontana Village.
It's on municipality.
Yeah, they're on board. Okay, thank you for doing that, bringing it up, before the next month, it should be interesting. So the last thing that I added onto the agenda at the last minute is a volunteer program. This is an extension of a discussion that we started, last month, where I think we were talking about, Freedom Fest and the upcoming Ag Fair and some other things. Yeah, we had the, half marathon also where we're just coming up short on volunteers from the community. And we talked about reaching out to, some of the local organizations, and I know we mentioned churches and, Swain High and athletics, et cetera. So I did reach out to, one of the athletic programs at Swain High and, broached the idea with them, and they were very interested, and they actually have, a program in place where, they can accept donations. It's a 501c3, and they can accept donations from an entity like ours in exchange for in-kind contributions of time, labor, et cetera. So that's where I'm at right now. There's potentially on the table a commitment for a monetary donation, and then future volunteerism efforts at local endeavors, including all those festivals that I just mentioned, and then anything that might come up. So any discussion on that? Does anyone have anything?
So you're saying that we could, let's use the Heritage Festival, if they need 15 volunteers, we could go to them, and we need 15 volunteers for 2 days, 6 hours a day, come up with a number, and us as a board donate to that charity, and they would make sure that we have those 15 individuals for 3 days for 6 hours a day.
Right.
Okay, so it'd be a kind of a commitment. It wouldn't be, they get there and 3 people showed up, and we were hoping 15 would be there, but only 3 showed up.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that, you'd want that commitment with whomever we're working with on the volunteer basis, just so that these organizations like the, North Carolina Agriculture can count on them.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah,
count.
the reliability and everything, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, it is faith. I mean,
I think it's a great idea.
Faith in the entities.
And it's a great idea because the charity or the charity for the volunteer work is great. It's gonna help them, and, they're gonna get to work with the community, but it's also great for us to donate to that nonprofit to help them and in the things that they need as a community in our county. I think it's a great idea. It's just needed someone like you to bring us together with some of these organizations.
Anybody else have any comments? Okay. Well, I am gonna make a motion on that. I'm gonna make a motion that, we allocate, I'm looking for a dollar amount. I'm gonna say $10,000 to, provide, volunteer resources, donations and volunteer resources to local,
And where you suggest moving this 10,000 from in the budget?
that's why I think we're gonna have to work through the logistics on
Okay, okay.
our end to see where it's coming from. If we have anything that either we budgeted for that will not be spent now, or any other line items or charities or sponsorships lines. And we'll make that contingent on the ability to locate a line item with
Okay.
resources on our end to do that.
I know we we've got the funds for the Four Corners sitting there, and it may not happen this year, and,
That's one of the areas, I think, where we have
Okay.
large dollars allocated to. That
Okay.
I would hate for us to scramble at the end of the year
Yeah.
and be searching for things to do when we have an opportunity like this.
no, this is
To
great,
start the
this is a great
year.
opportunity. We need this. We need this.
I've seconded it.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have something? I see you thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking. My question is, when you said it's through the Swain Athletics or whatever like that, is it a program that they have developed and it is in
No.
working? So
No,
it's
so
not.
this is uncharted waters. It hasn't been developed yet, so are some logistics that need to be worked out on the back end. This specific athletic program is the football team and through the quarterback club is the nonprofit organization. And they're the ones that are committing, will be committing volunteer resources specifically from the football program. And that's not to say this wouldn't be open to other organizations that are doing similar things where they're raising money. I think it was it cross country that was raising money for rings championship, same thing.
This also extend to church organizations.
Anybody that we want to specifically,
So to clarify your motion is just right now to allot, 10,000 into into a line item for this volunteer,
Yeah.
charity.
correct,
Okay.
Okay.
And then we'll finalize the
We
odds
gotta
and
work
ends
out
with
the-
whomever we're working with. And
Yeah.
it may be a church, or it may be the school, or it may be some other organization.
yeah, this came pretty quick, so, I mean, I don't have anything written on it. We need to have some written procedures and especially for.
That's what I was looking for,
the,
clarity on that.
you know, the activity, like it is, we want people that need this type, like the ag fair, for example, which is coming up. I heard specifically, last meeting that they needed volunteers. So that organization needs to have a process to come and say, hey, I need X amount of hours, can you donate? And
Thank
say,
you.
We all raise our hand and say yes or no.
I was just unclear as what you were pertaining the 10,000 to go for exactly.
Yeah,
So,
just a line item holder,
Okay.
And we do have the one entity now that's available and can commit resources.
So could that not fall in the same as us sponsoring in our sponsorship program, or?
I was just gonna mention that, there's a couple of places, you got 38,000 in sponsorship.
That's what I'm
Funding.
wondering, if we can't just combine that and this be our sponsorship volunteer program. Just
Right, I mean,
just
there will be
widen the
some
name of it.
sponsorship requests throughout the year, but, none
Yeah.
of them, with the exception of Freedom Fest coming in
Yep.
at 10,000 requests, which was actually 5,000 in actual. And then we have a few other smaller events coming up where people are asking for a matching marketing.
Yeah,
So there's funding there. There's also contingency line item of $24,000, which is really not allocated to anything. It's there for emergency or something that we didn't account for.
so are you still looking for a specific, its own line item, or can we combine that in with the marketing, or the
Yes.
sponsorship program and the?
I'm fine with the
marketing program.
sponsorship program. I hadn't identified a line item yet.
Okay.
I do have a feeling that there will be funding available as we go throughout the year.
And we can always grow that, next time
Yeah.
we vote for our budget, we can always grow that if we see that we're gonna have more matching marketing grants and sponsorships and volunteer work, and we're gonna need, about next year or the following year, we're gonna need at least this much for volunteer work.
Yeah,
And we can grow that line item and just use that as our line item, that sponsorship marketing.
and I think if it's available and programs know that there's volunteer hours available to use, then
Yep.
maybe the fear of trying to execute a larger.
I think it's a win-win across the board for the county.
Yeah.
I mean, for all of our community, especially if we can help for some of these kids that can't do things that they, that would help their education in some way, and we can help them that way.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we do that, set aside $10,000 for volunteer-related activities for local organizations. And then we'll work through the logistics
I seconded that.
Second by Cheryl. All in favor? Okay. Unopposed?
Unanimous.
Thank you. And Patty Jo, you're working with the Ag Fair, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this will hopefully help.
Appreciate it.
Okay, that's all we have. Does anyone have anything else for other board discussion?
No, just the question back to your motion. You're gonna, who's gonna work on getting the guidelines? Mary, you gonna work on these guidelines? Okay. Okay. It's similar to the guidelines of the sponsorship, but this is a volunteer program guidelines. That way that,
It could just be an extra box on the current form that we use for
Yeah.
a sponsorship
Yeah.
request, where it's like, are you asking for dollars, or are you
Yeah.
asking for volunteer hours? And,
yeah,
um,
asking for volunteer hours and the amount of volunteers you need.
Yeah. I'll look at the sponsorship request form and then, it wouldn't be part of the, matching of that grant. So
No, it'd be
it's part of the
sponsorship.
sponsorship.
Yeah, that's a
and
good
then
idea.
You said earlier, you can approve those up to $5,000.
Yes.
So you can value that in kind and apply those same.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay, anything else? All right, thanks everybody for their time today. Need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Andy, second by Aaron. All in favor?
All in favor?
None opposed? All right, we're good.